Welcome, everybody, to the Gurley Truth College Basketball Preview Show on the Gurley Truth Sports Network. Today, we're going to preview the Big Ten battle in West Lafayette, Indiana. On Friday night at 8 o'clock is the Indiana Hoosiers travel to Purdue to battle the Boilermakers. Purdue is hot and heavy in the Big Ten race with a chance to win the Big Ten championship. The Indiana Hoosiers are struggling at 14-7. And this is a team that has no direction right now. There's no culture at the University of Indiana, and there's very little coaching. But in the past, Mike Woodson has been able to figure out a way to win a game or two here or there against Purdue. Can they do it again on Friday night? The Hoosiers have to. Their season started off solidly because the schedule was light. It was easy. The two good teams they played, Louisville and Gonzaga, beat their brains out. Earlier this month, Illinois and Iowa blew them out. Illinois blew them out in Bloomington. They dropped a winnable game against Maryland this past weekend. It was a game where they had it under control, up 4 with 30 seconds left, missed free throws, poor clock management, poor play design at the end of the game. Miles Rice gets off a baseline 3, which does nobody any good. The Indiana Hoosiers are a mess right now. You got to figure this team is probably demoralized. There's no other way to explain what they would be right now. And the big playmaker this year so far has been Oumar Ballo. He's averaged 14.5 points, 10 rebounds. The former Arizona center has had great production this season in his final college campaign. He's one of the most efficient scorers and rebounders in the Big Ten. Not in the greatest shape in the world. Got in trouble, suspended earlier in the year for doing stuff he's not supposed to do, which is not what you want your senior leadership doing. Sophomore Mackenzie Mbaku has shown some signs of brilliance in his second year with the Hoosiers, but he went on a long dry stretch where he didn't do much. He's played slightly better the last couple games. Miles Rice has been an all-around contributor after winning Pac-12 Rookie of the Year at Washington State last season. And a team in great shape a few weeks ago. The Indiana Hoosiers now just sit 62nd in KenPom, 68 in the net, and I will say that they are overvalued there. This team, I think the NCAA tournament is more like a pipe dream right now. Having Ballo and Mbaku in a front court is a great tool. But when you combine those two with Renew, you're very slow on the perimeter. They're going to have a hell of a time with Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer, the long-range shooters from Purdue. And their defense has not been very good. They lack effort. And on the other hand, you look at Purdue, they're 16-5, and they've played a much tougher schedule than the Hoosiers have. And they've been riding relatively a hot streak now, winners of their eight of their last 9 games. Last Friday night, they did get upset by the Ohio State Buckeyes, a team that IU got by in Columbus a couple weeks ago. This isn't quite the same team that made last season's national championship game, but a lot of that talent did come back. They've got big wins over Alabama, Ole Miss, and Oregon. And most impressive, I think, of all that was last week's 27-point drubbing over Michigan, 91-64, and that was coming off that Ohio State loss. Now, they had some big shoes to fill, but Trey Kaufman-Wren has really stepped up in a major way. The junior forward has developed into one of the best front court players in the Big Ten. A lot of the production on this roster is thanks to junior Braden Smith, who averages a little over 15 points a game, who continues to establish himself as one of the best point guards in the nation. Fellow junior guard Fletcher Lawyer is having another standout season, making nearly 47% of his three-point shots this season. Purdue enters play at number 10 in the AP Top 25, though they're faring far better than other metrics. They come in at 7th in KenPom. They come in 9th in the most recently updated net. The defense has had some solid moments, but the offense remains efficient and balanced. Having Smith leading the charge is an extremely important weapon for Kaufman-Wren's development. It's a big reason Purdue is one of the favorites to win the Big Ten. Now, based on how these teams have played in the recent weeks, it's very easy to favor the Boilermakers right off the bat. They're playing at home. They have a more balanced roster. They can hit outside shots and defend better than Indiana. But rivalry games tend to mean anything can happen, and we've seen that the past few years with Indiana pulling a few upsets over Purdue. Now, Trace Jackson Davis is no longer here. That makes it a little bit rougher to do. Now, these Hoosiers, as I said, have surprised Zach Edey and company the last few years. I don't think there's going to be any surprises on Friday night, though. I think Purdue runs away with this game. I think with Indiana, you have a poorly coached team with a ton of talent that is demoralized. The effort is not there. I expect the first half they will give great effort. They will be in this game. Maybe they'll have a small lead, but there's going to come a point in this game for 5 or 6 minutes where they can't score, and they're going to give up way too many 3-point shots. I look for Lawyer and Smith to have big games from outside, and I think Kaufman Wren will be able to at least play Ballo straight up. And remember this, when Purdue plays with a couple bigs, those guys are capable of getting out to the wings. At least one of them is to defend. When you've got M'Baku, Renew, and Ballo all in at the same time, this Indiana team is not athletic enough. So if they play 5 to 10 minutes even with Ballo and Renew together, I think this game is going to get out of hand. I think it'll take till mid-second half to get out of hand. I think Purdue wins this game somewhere in the 82-65 range. And if I'm betting this on BetMGM, I will take Purdue all the way to -12. That's how sure I am in this game. Now, I have to admit, I am an Indiana fan, but it's more important to me to make a little bit of money right now because Indiana's a mess. It's only a matter of time before they have a new coach. That will happen sometime between now and the very end or right after the end of this season. They have a 6-game streak coming up, which this starts at 6 games, where they've got to win at least 3 of those games, and I don't see this team capable of doing that. All right, guys, if you want to follow me on X, you can follow me at Grilling Truth. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell notification on YouTube. Go to grillingtruth.com. But for now, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grilling Truth, where the legends speak.